Hey, this is Stacia, and we're going to take a look at my round one game from the Ohio Congress. So I just played this in September of 2022, and this is the round one game. So my opponent was Charles Martin, rated about 1500, and I am currently at about 1615. So let's have a look. After d4, in the opening, I went d5, c4, queen's gambit, d takes c4, knight to c3. I went a6, trying to get b5 and hold on to my pawn, and he played pawn to a4 to stop my idea. And now I played knight to c6. This move, I feel, is a bit combative because I'm trying to provoke d5, and if they go d5, I will go knight a5. And the point is that my knight can guard the pawn from here, and he's very difficult to get out because in the event of b4, we can always take en passant, and then black's just a lot better. So I was trying to provoke that move, but he just simply went e3. Okay, so e3 is a more solid approach, but it definitely attacks the pawn. So I should probably make a decision. Do I want to save that pawn or not? And with the knight on c6, I would say the answer is yes. So knight to a5. I also thought I could play an interesting move here, e5. Was it here or maybe later? I don't know. I thought e5 was interesting because, for example, if he does take, we can trade queens. I mean, both these moves don't look desirable. So let's say knight takes, and then I take here, and I'm defending the pawn. And I felt black must be better here, and the engine does agree. But e5 also attacks the center immediately. It opens up the bishop. So I felt this was maybe a way to play, but I didn't do that. I went knight to a5, which is also good. They're both top engine moves. Knight to f6. Let's develop. Bishop e2. Okay, so bishop e2 in my mind is a concession from white. It's like, hey, I gave up on taking c4 with my bishop in one move. So now if they do get the pawn, at least I got them to waste a tempo with bishop e2. But he will get on with his development now. And also, this bishop's a little weird, but, you know, mine is too, so well, maybe mine isn't yet, but after I play e6, it will be. And I played e6. So, okay, e6 is actually not precise here. But my thought was, my opponent made a concession. I've still got my pawn for now. He'll have to spend time to get that pawn with knight e5, knight takes c4. And so I must be equal or slightly better. So I didn't want to spend too much time in the opening, and I thought I should just play normal now and enjoy the fact that I'm equal or slightly better. So that is what I did. Castles. And then I went c5. I like to fight for the center, but this is a normal move. And he did take the pawn. Okay, so here I traded queens because that is what I normally do. I usually trade queens, take the pawn. So I did play this way, but it turns out that I actually had a little bit better here. I really considered bishop to d7. I should have played this move. It's the top engine move, apparently. Because trading queens, when the queens are staring at each other like this, you should consider who does it help when you trade queens. Now, I cannot allow them to take my queen like this, right? Because then I have to play, what, king d8? I don't really want to do that. But on the other hand, if I take their queen, they do want this because then their rook is improved and takes the open file. So bishop d7 is probably the best move because it stops the trade of queens, but it also doesn't allow him to take me at the same time. The other move the engine likes is queen c7, which I didn't consider at all. And but I think this move is interesting. I think we're X-ray defending this. So because we are going to probably play bishop takes c5 next. And okay, anyway, interesting ideas. But in the game, here, and takes. Okay, so this is fine though. Knight e5, I expected this because, well, he's got to win back that pawn. It's a thorn in his side. And here I thought, let's just castle. You got the pawn back. But if you look at the position, I feel like because of that move bishop e2 and having to go knight e5 to knight c4, I feel like I've gotten some tempos out of the deal. So I must be equal or slightly better. Let's ask the engine. Yeah, it agrees. It says minus 0.1. So black's ever so slightly better. But yeah, I guess it's just equal. But okay, that's fine. Now, I actually considered the move knight to b3 here. I'm not sure what this really does. I mean, maybe just rook b1 is totally fine. And then I wasn't sure why my knight is there. So I like this better. This knight was on the rim, and now his job is done, right? Like that pawn was getting taken no matter what. So we might as well trade him. And bishop d7. Okay, so I had to calculate this move because, you know, white does have an interesting move here. I thought, like, there could be knight e4, which would attack my bishop and my knight. But also the knight's protecting the bishop. So, you know, if I do nothing, he will take here, wrecking my pawns and taking the bishop. And I'm sure white's doing awesome there, winning. So I have to have something for this. And I thought if I take the knight, he could take here. His rook's infiltrating. But then here I thought, okay, if that happens, I'll go rook f to d8. Because there is no follow-up. Like that rook, this rook cannot come to d1. It's the bishop's in the way. But at the same time, if this rook tries to slide over to c7, I would have check, and I'd have some sort of initiative there for sure. They would have to play bishop f1. Yeah, this doesn't look all that desirable for white. So I was going to allow knight to e4. But my opponent played bishop to e2. I mean, like, wow. Just retreating for no real apparent reason. But okay, so I brought my rook to the center, a5. So I guess this was his idea. I think he's trying to fix my b7 pawn and claim that it's a weakness. I mean, I guess so, but this is not an open file. And I mean, I guess there's bishop f3, but don't I just have this? I mean, I don't know. So I'm not a big fan of this strategy. I didn't think it was best, but let's see what the engine says. No, it likes a5. Looks a5. It also likes bishop f3 or bishop g2. Okay, so a5 in conjunction with bishop f3, I think, is a good idea. So that's why I put my bishop here. It's like, okay, trying to stop bishop f3. And now king to f1. King f1 looks weird to my eyes. I mean, this pawn is loose now. Also, he's allowing rook takes d1. This trade of rooks, I think, favors black because there's no rook takes d1. That bishop's in the way, so I just played that. This looks pretty obvious to me because I get the open file and the bishops look passive on the back row. This rook looks passive. My bishops look pretty good. So I felt I must be at least equal here. Bishop e2, apparently his favorite move. And I played knight to d5. Okay. Yeah, in this position, I wasn't sure what to do from here. It really was not. The engine gives bishop to b4 as the main move. I think the idea is that we want to get our bishop off the c file because it's also given bishop e7 as a possible move. I guess protecting stuff and getting out of the way. Bishop b4 is maybe a slightly better version of that because we put pressure on the knight. And we might even take that knight and then land in here or here. But also we're putting pressure on a5, which kind of ties down the rook. So I think I agree with all this. The bishop d2, which would be a natural response, is not available because of rook takes d2. So, okay, I think we learned something there. Knight to d5. Okay, he played g3, which I don't understand. Really? It just seems to weaken all the light squares, in my opinion, and makes my bishop actually better. But I'm not sure how to punish it yet either. So I went knight to b4, just trying to activate and infiltrate a little bit. You know, maybe I can jump into this square or this square, attack that rook, try to gain the bishop pair by allowing bishop takes d3. So he played b3 here, I guess trying to finally get the bishop on b2 or possibly a3. So I hopped into d3. Okay, so now I was just kind of like trying to do something. I did not know what to do here, to be honest. I mean, the computer gives bishop to f8. Like, okay. I'm not sure why that's the top move. I guess just coordinating and waiting. But in the game, I went ahead and hopped in here, hoping for bishop takes d3. But he played bishop a3, which I did feel was the best move. And now, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really want to trade pieces and take, although I see that's the best now. So I played knight to b4. And my idea is that I'm preventing the trade of bishops, but also I may play knight to c2. Should I check these things? Right? And, okay, so he moved the rook. Now I felt I should just take that, so I did. He took with the knight. And now bishop to d5. Yeah, and I felt my position was looking quite good here, you know. His pieces look really passive, and my bishops look well placed in the center. So I thought this was looking fine. So he played bishop c4, which I expected, but now I can at least isolate that pawn. So I thought this is maybe something for me. And then I went knight here. Allowing the trade, so this happened. But my idea was that after king e2, I actually have knight b3, and I don't know how he saves his a pawn. So I think this happens. Yeah, I went king f8 first. But yeah, I mean, if I go here immediately even, I don't see how he saves his pawn. But here I did have to worry about possibly just a king march. Like, so I was calculating, like, here, king up, I take, you know, maybe he goes here. I don't know. No, actually that would all be fine. But maybe he could push the pawn first so that there's that move. Okay, anyway. I played king f8. Computer likes it. Oh yeah, and I saw that this would just be a fork then. So this does happen, and the king's in the position now, right? So this is actually a critical moment. So if you want to try this, I'm going to ask you, you know, in this position, black has only one move to have basically a winning advantage. And everything else is just equal and likely to be a draw. So if you would like to pause your video and find the correct move for black, go ahead and do so now. Yeah, so I realized during the game that if I just go knight c6 check, that king is going to infiltrate and probably make it to b6, you know, possibly like this, and just win my pawns, just eat my pawns up. Now, it's not the end of the world, because if he does that, I have time to get my king to the center. It's very likely I will win this pawn. And then his king will be a little bit worse than mine. His knight will probably be a little bit worse than mine. And I feel like black is pushing for a win there, but even though it's probably just a draw. So that was kind of the worst case. Now, the other idea, though, was maybe we just stop the king from infiltrating. So I looked at this move b6. And on b6, it looks nice because it protects the knight. And it also stops the king from infiltrating. But there, after b6, I saw this idea of the move c5. And, you know, if we take that pawn, we lose the knight, so we can't take it. So after b6, c5, I thought there was knight c5 check. And what I like about this move is all these squares are taken. The king, you know, really can't do much. So I thought maybe king c4 there. And after king c4, I still didn't like it because I thought, okay, now if I take the pawn, he takes with his king. He's still coming up. My knight's attacked, and that's it. But I missed something in that position. So let's have a look at it. b6, c5. So like I was saying, that's bad, so we cannot take it. So we go check. Now this looks excellent. But they are about to take our pawns. We have to do something here, and I thought this position did not look so good for black, and I was correct. But we have this check. I just missed a check down the line. And it's so sad that I did, because this would have won the game. This b5 check. I mean, now if you look at the position, you know, the king is completely boxed out. He has to retreat. And the reason this wins is we have two connected pass pawns now. So we're going to make a queen. Our king can simply come up now. You know, we'll do something like this. This is just a winning advantage for black. So I missed that, unfortunately. But I knew that knight c6 was a fine move. I just didn't realize it gave up a win. So this happened. Yeah, and I missed something else about this variation as well. I missed that after king b6, king d6 actually is not recommended because there's this check. And then if I move up, they can check like this. Now the knight's getting involved. Yeah, I mean, I thought I'm probably okay here, but this does not look like I'm pushing anymore. Now I feel like, oh wow, it says black's winning after bishop or king c4. I'm kind of surprised by that. All right, I checked with the computer more. Wow, knight d8 wins. Like what? Oh, just protect the pawn. Yeah, all right. I need to get a lot better at considering these ideas where I play passive, but I just protect things. I guess the idea is that if we go here, attacking the knight. Wow, the idea is actually either king d5 counterattacking or f5 counterattacking. So the plan is to counterattack here, and then this king will be very silly, right? Like if he takes, he'll be very silly there. And then I win this pawn because that's what the knight's defending. Yeah, wow. So we get our two passers. It's all about keeping these two pawns. I was analyzing with Brian Castro, and that's exactly what he said immediately. He's like, look, it's like if you get these two pawns, you keep these two pawns. He's like, I think you're winning. Yeah, it's what I thought during the game as well, but I did not see this all the way through. So instead I played h5 here. Yeah, and this is unfortunately not the right move. But Well, actually, if we go here and they go check, they don't have to play knight c3 check here. I mean, they can just take the pawn. This is also fine. Yeah, and I feel like black's just a little bit better here, but it's probably a draw. Okay, so that's fine. But after h5, I was thinking, okay, look, I know that they're going to win my pawns, but I also think my king and my knight will be more active. And I'm going to, you know, at some point play king d6 and go get that pawn. So in the meantime, I thought I could try to gain some space on the king side and maybe play, you know, for an outside passer. Now, it doesn't look like I can get one, but I was kind of thinking maybe my knight, you know, can infiltrate. If I can win one of these pawns, maybe I can make an outside passer. That would give me winning chances. So I was thinking super deep about the position, missing the win that was in front of me early, but okay, I guess that's, you know, that's part of chess. So check. Oh yeah, and this is the other reason I played this, is I liked this fork here, winning the pawn. So okay, I just forgot about it in analysis. G5, H3. There's a lot of ideas to win these pawns now over there. F5, and now F4. I thought F4 was a really interesting move. Yeah, because I was kind of threatening this, which means that he can't move his knight away. He's got to protect that pawn. At the same time, I'm guarding these squares. And yeah, if this move, I also had check coming in, which didn't seem like a good idea either, right? And then, yeah, I don't know. Even on this move, I thought I have this. Yeah, so I was looking at all this, but kind of intuitively, I knew to stop the king from coming in. Okay, so F4 I thought was a pretty interesting move. I was looking at this response, and I played the move G4. Yeah, I thought this is cool. My idea is that I'm just fixing this pawn on G3 because I have knight G1 and knight takes G3, and I'm not sure how he stops that move. Looks very difficult to stop. So he took, I played check immediately, and then took here, ready to take on G3. But this is actually, I guess it's okay. I'm wondering if there's a better way to do this though. So I asked the computer. After takes, no, it likes my check. It does like it. I thought there was this too. But, and the computer gives knight to C3. What is the idea behind knight C3? I really don't know. Like, what if I go here? Oh, that's the idea. Another idea is to play E4. The knight is supporting the move E4. Interesting. Yeah, and white wants to trade pawns here. Well, if they want to draw, they want to trade pawns. But given that they're about to lose one, if they trade pawns, then a knight ending, even a pawn up, is usually a draw. At least that's my understanding. So anyway, but I did check and then take there. Yes, is right. And then I won a pawn. So okay, I won a pawn. If anyone has winning chances, it's black, but it's probably still a draw. I realize that. The problem is that knight can always sacrifice for my last remaining pawn. But this was my goal the whole time, was to get this past G pawn. It looks a little bit tough to stop. So knight to F2 was played. I went knight E2. I'm planning on attacking the knight. The knight will have to move, and then I'm going to try to queen. Sort of the idea. but he played e4, which I did calculate, and I thought this is the best move, and I wasn't sure what to do here. And I played the move g3. G3 is actually a blunder, though. So once again, if you want to pause your video and find the only winning move for black, go ahead and do so now. So I'm turning the engine off. I think the problem with g3, and I saw this, is that after knight h3, I mean, I can push my pawn, but the knight is guarding. So, you know, let's just say they take here. You know, I take, they take. If I queen, I can win the knight, but this is a draw. I have no pawns left to queen. Got to make a queen to win, so this is not good enough. So this knight h3 move, guarding the queening square, is the reason that we can't do anything. That is why knight to g1 instead of g3. This is the only winning move, and the idea is to just stop this. We want to play g3 and have no knight h3. If there's no knight h3, I don't know how they stop the pawn, right? Like, it looks pretty good. So I guess let's say they take here just for fun. I mean, maybe I can go g3 now. It's possible. Oh, that's the engine. Yeah, g3 only winning move. Now, if we take back, this is not it, because now they take. And now if we play g3, let's see, it says knight to e4. Yeah, I think we're too slow once again, because if I push knight g5, and the knight can once again protect the queening square. I also need a turn just to get my knight out of the way. So this is not going to work out, right? Like, if I go here, knight h3 probably. This is fine. Yeah, and this is a draw, because once again, I don't have any pawns, and I can stop the white pawn pretty easily. So, okay, where was that rook g1 move? Let's see. So after takes, g3. Yeah, this is the move, because now no knight h3. All right, so let's say they take. I mean, this looks a little bit scary. That's fine, but then we just take the knight and we're going to make a queen. So they kind of have to move that knight, you know? So, yeah, what? I guess they could check like this. And then move the knight here just so they get a check in. It's possible. But then I think, yeah, I think we can check. They can attack our knight, but we don't care, because now we get our queens. This is all a little hard for me to see during the game, and even analyzing with Brian Castro, who's in 1900, he said, yeah, this is kind of hard to see. He wasn't sure he would find it either. So I'm more upset about the previous win, that b6 move. I think that I should have calculated, because I only missed a check. But this one's a little harder. Yeah, so I went g3 here instead of knight g1, the winning move. Yeah, and now I think it's just a draw. There's not too much to do. I mean, basically the pawns are all trading off, and I can't make a queen because of this knight. So try my best. Yeah, my little trick here was that I knew he was going to play f5, and then I thought, ooh, it's a little fork. And I take that, but then he takes there. And okay, maybe I could win if it was just kings. I'm not totally sure about that either. Like here, here, here. Yeah, if there I get the opposition. If here I get that. So it would be winning without knights. But with knights, it's definitely a draw. And I played many more moves here, but I didn't, I mean, I pressed for a while, but it just became clear that he could just sacrifice his knight for the pawn, so it was quite easy to hold as white. My opponent even made a comment. I mean, I teach my students never resign or never offer a draw. And I feel like at my rating, that's also applicable because, hey, you know, the point is let's give our opponents who aren't grandmasters, let's give them a chance to mess it up, right? Let's give them a chance to get tired and miss something, even if it's very simple, very obvious. Just give them the chance, because if you offer a draw, it's a draw. That's it. But if you press and you try to pose small problems, then maybe you'll win still. So I thought playing on for a while was correct. So I did do that, but eventually he did just take the pawn. It was a draw. So a little disappointing for me. I felt I had an advantage. You know, I was at least equal or pushing most of the game. And I had a feeling I had missed a win somewhere. And it did turn out to be that b6 moment. But also knight g1 idea. So not too upset about the knight g1 idea, but I am upset about b6. Because here's the thing, you guys, because you do this too. Promise that you do. Let's get back to that critical moment. Where was it? Yeah, it was right here. All right, so this is why I think studying my openings and how to precisely punish certain moves, like I'm not so sure if that's where I should spend my energy, because this is the position that caused me to draw instead of win. This one right here, all I had to do is play b6, right? Now I didn't play b6 because I saw c5 and I saw knight c6 check, and I saw king here. And I saw that he could take b6 next. And I just simply missed this check. I just missed this check. So I think it's a visualization problem. And so that is why I think calculation and tactic puzzles, this is why the kids get so good, right? Because they can absorb that information quickly, and that is what they do the most of, or at least they should. It's what I'm informing my students to work on, and it's what I'm informing myself to work on. So yeah, back to the tactics. I think that is the secret to me getting to 1800 and 1900. It's just to do, you know, tons and tons of tactics, improve my calculating and my visualization, because this was a win, and I don't think that check is hard to see necessarily. But also, maybe I study way too many opening and middle games. So you know, I'm not as experienced with positions like this, but tactics puzzles will have positions like this. So anyway, you know, I got a draw. It was not a disaster by any means, but I definitely would have liked to have found that move b6. So this is Stacia, and I will be back with my round 2 game shortly. So have a great day, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.